Jimmy G. Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo. The man, the myth, the legend. At least in appearance anyways. What is going on, everyone? This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are listening and watching. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders signing Jimmy Garoppolo to be their new starting quarterback. Jimmy G is now reunited with Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels. The Las Vegas Raiders just paid Jimmy G 3 years for $72.75 million. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. What is your reaction to the Raiders signing Jimmy G to be their starting quarterback? And what I've got to say about this move is that I'm starting to like this move more and more as I am thinking about it. Although it may not sound great on paper, the more you think about it, the better the move it actually is for the Las Vegas Raiders. They let go of Derek Carr, a quarterback that many people consider to be a solid starting quarterback in the National Football League, and they didn't get any compensation in return for Derek Carr. So the Raiders were left scrambling to get a starting quarterback in the National Football League, and who was better than Jimmy Garoppolo that was on the free agency market? Because truth of the matter is, Jimmy Garoppolo, this man is a winner. 40-17 as a starter. He's made it to a Super Bowl. He's played into NFC Championship games, and when his team plays, they usually win more often than not. Jimmy Garoppolo, he might not put up the best numbers out there. He has his faults. There's no question about it. But Jimmy G, what he does is win games. This is not like signing a Baker Mayfield, who's mediocre out there and everybody's praising him unfairly. When you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, this man is a leader. This man knows how to study film. This man knows how to get the job done when it matters most in the regular season. I'm not saying that he's a great postseason quarterback. He certainly isn't. In fact, he's pretty dreadful. But as far as regular season goes, he's a good quarterback. The problem with Jimmy Garoppolo is his health. Can Jimmy Garoppolo stay healthy? That's always been Jimmy G's biggest nightmare. And so far, Jimmy G has only played in all of his games in one season once. When he did that, his team appeared in the Super Bowl. Jimmy G is injury prone. Yes, you're going to have to get a good backup for Jimmy Garoppolo. But when you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, he is a very good starting quarterback in the National Football League. He knows how to get the ball to his playmakers. He knows how to lead. He knows how to get teammates to respect him in the locker room. And he has the respect of the coaches. When you talk about teams in the NFL, when they have success, what do they usually have in common? Quarterback-coach relationship. That area is typically very strong. Jimmy Garoppolo did not get the benefit of the doubt in San Francisco. He did not have a strong relationship with his head coach and Kyle Shanahan. I'm not saying that is Kyle Shanahan's fault. It certainly isn't. Kyle Shanahan is a fantastic head coach. When you talk about football coaches, Kyle Shanahan is definitely a top 5 head coach in the NFL. He knows how to draw plays unlike any other. Kyle Shanahan is a fantastic coach, but Kyle Shanahan isn't necessarily a people's person. Kyle Shanahan isn't necessarily the guy that developed Jimmy Garoppolo. You know how he had to work with Jimmy Garoppolo? He had to acquire him via trade, meaning that Kyle Shanahan never exactly got to see him develop into one of his own. You know who did though? Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels and Jimmy G have a strong relationship. So when you look at it from that perspective, that's going to work really well. Quarterback-coach combination. And it's not like Jimmy G is going to a bad team. Yeah, you could say the organization is dysfunctional. Yeah, you could say that the coaching isn't necessarily great. But what do most coaches rely on in order to make themselves look good? Quarterback. And just ask Bill Belichick how hard it is in the NFL to win without a great quarterback. Without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick is just ordinary. And Josh McDaniels, he's from the Bill Belichick tree. He could be thinking from the same mold too. I'm going to be on the hot seat. Most people are looking at me negatively. Why not go ahead and grab a winner at the quarterback position? Yeah, Jimmy G has faults, but he's better than any of the quarterbacks that I've had. And to be honest with you, he's going to be a better fit for the Raiders than Derek Carr was for them. I'm not saying Jimmy G is a better player than Derek Carr, although you could certainly make the case. But what I am saying is that in this system, and with the price tag that Jimmy G and Derek Carr have, Jimmy G is going to be better for the Raiders than Derek Carr will be for them, because Jimmy G's got a strong relationship with his head coach. And you look at what the Raiders are going to be providing him. They're going to give him the NFL's leading rusher in Josh Jacobs. He's a really good back. they're also giving him Devontae Adams, they're giving him Hunter Renfrow, they're giving him Darren Waller, and they just signed Jacoby Myers earlier today, a guy that was in the Patriots system. So Josh McDaniels and Jacoby Myers, they've definitely got familiarity with one another. So the Raiders, they look like they're getting their offense set up, and their offensive line is certainly not bad at all. Defensively, they need to do work in there. That's why they're going to probably spend a lot of draft capital on defense. They need to fix up the defense because Jimmy G does need a good defense in order to maximize his skill set. But if the Raiders can get that fixed, this Raiders team could be a sleeper in the AFC. I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl contender, but as far as them contending for the playoffs, I could certainly buy it. When you look at the AFC West, obviously the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the AFC West. There's not even a question. Some say that they're the best in the National Football League. And honestly, the Kansas City Chiefs are worlds better than the Las Vegas Raiders, even with the addition of Jimmy Garoppolo. And although Jimmy G is a winner, he doesn't necessarily become a winner against the Kansas City Chiefs. When Jimmy G plays against the Kansas City Chiefs, he typically makes mistakes and does not come through with the win for his team. Obviously, Kansas City is going to be better than them. But what about the other teams in the AFC West? The Broncos are dysfunctional. Russell Wilson looks like he's washed up. Yeah, they hired Sean Payton, but a great coach can only do so much for a washed quarterback. So when you look at it from that perspective, the Denver Broncos are still going to be a mess. Then you've got the Los Angeles Chargers, who are always bound to underachieve year in and year out. Yes, they got a star quarterback in Justin Herbert, but they just had their star running back request a trade. And if Austin Eckler ends up getting traded, the Chargers are not going to end up having a good run game to rely on whatsoever, which means Justin Herbert is going to have to carry the load. I love Justin Herbert. I think he's a great football player. Do I think he can carry the Chargers without a run game? I'm not so sure about that. When you look at the signing of Jimmy Garoppolo, the Las Vegas Raiders now just said, okay, now we don't have to trade him from pick 7 in order to get the quarterback of the future. Instead, if we don't like a quarterback at 7, we can go ahead, focus on defense, build the rest of the team around this cheap contract that Jimmy Garoppolo signed. I like this deal. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's a good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. And to sign him for basically less than $25 million per year, that's a bargain in today's market. You can't tell me that Jimmy G is worse than Daniel Jones with a straight face. At least not by that much. Daniel Jones is making $40 million, Jimmy G less than $25 million. Yeah, they're basically about the same tier, although Jimmy G could arguably be better than Daniel Jones, give or take a few spots. So when I give grades for what the Raiders situation is looking like, I gave him a B+ for the signing of Jimmy Garoppolo. That was a good addition. They got themselves a solid veteran starter. Now they can focus on building the defense. As long as they can keep the offensive pieces intact and keep the relationship strong between the coach and the quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be in good hands to be successful. I also think that they could become a playoff team with the weapons that they do have, as well as having a solid quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. If they can hit on some of the defensive picks, this Raiders team is going to be a dark horse team in the AFC. They're going to be a playoff team. I don't think they're going to be anything more than that. The AFC is just too stacked with talent. With Jimmy Garoppolo in the AFC West, I think that the Raiders could contend for being the second best team in the AFC West, which I think, in my opinion, is going to be good enough to make the playoffs in the AFC. So that's what I have happening. So when you look at it from that perspective, I also want to note for Jimmy Garoppolo that there's going to be a lot of strip clubs in Las Vegas. And Jimmy Garoppolo, hey, he's a handsome man. I'm a dude, I'm a straight guy and all that. But let's be honest, Jimmy Garoppolo, we know what he is, and we know he likes to play with women, and Las Vegas is going to give him plenty of that. They got a lot of strip clubs, and to me, that's going to be one of the real reasons why Jimmy Garoppolo signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. To be honest, there's honestly 2 reasons why. One for football-related purposes, and one for off-the-field stuff. Football-related purposes, strong relationship with the head coach, as well as having the weapons that they do have on offense. And as for off-the-field, it's because they're going to be able to provide them strip clubs at the casino. It's going to be as simple as that, and Jimmy Garoppolo's going to be loving that Las Vegas life. It's just as simple as that. So that is why Jimmy Garoppolo signing with the Las Vegas Raiders was actually a pretty good signing. I'm going to go ahead and give that a B+ for the Raiders and Jimmy Garoppolo. I feel pretty good about it for both sides. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinTran and @SportsGuyTalking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more of Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.